But, Martin, let's do some NBA. And there was an interesting story about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, of course, with the Suns. And there people are like, Kevin Durant's having a hell of a season. And for whatever reason, he's kind of an afterthought. The people don't talk about Kevin Durant anymore or as high profile as maybe they did. And I have a couple of ideas on why I think that's the case with KD and the Phoenix Suns and what's going on. But there was an interesting podcast and comments about Kevin Durant. Can you share that?
It was Rashard McCants on Gilbert Arenas' show, Gil's Arena. It said, quote, "The real hoopers know that Kevin Durant is going to go down as a better basketball player than LeBron at the end of the day." There you have it.
Where are you on that? Curious.
I think it's ridiculous. LeBron is the player of this generation. That's fine. Like, I don't know why there's a stress to try to discredit or.
That's by players, though, mostly. I mean, what do you think that is? Like, a lot of players, even former players who were analysts at one time, they wouldn't even have them in their top 5 or top 10 list. To me, it's the ultimate disrespect. Like, to even, you could say he's not Michael Jordan. That's a cool argument, or I could understand how you could make that. But to say he's not in your top 5 when he's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA and been to 10 finals is mind-boggling.
To me, to say anything besides, I mean, since 2000, essentially, he's the best basketball player that we've seen. That's fine. That, to me, that's unarguable. I don't think you can debate that.
But you remember when the first year they gave players the opportunity to vote for the All-Star game? Like 140 players didn't vote for him for the All-Star game.
But
I'm just saying, like, they play the game. They're on the court with him. They don't have respect for that, the game, to say that like, it's an exhibition. It ain't like you're saying he's the greatest player ever played.
No, but we get into this whole, look, players have agendas. Because here's the thing, like, all right, that's one of the things that I used to work with Shannon Sharp all the time, and one of the things he would always talk about is how his career was his career, and no matter how he commented on somebody else's, it doesn't change his career. That thing always made a ton of sense to me. But like, if you're guys who got beat by LeBron consistently, or LeBron essentially retired you, then maybe you have a different feeling about LeBron James than other people do. Which I get it.
But it's not only just those players though. I'm just saying. Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, like, just shocking.
They don't like anybody born prior to after 1980. Those guys. So seriously, you tell me who Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith and Shaq go up there and praise on inside the NBA?
It's not about, you don't have to praise anybody, but to say he's not in the top 5, it just doesn't make sense.
That's what I'm saying. It's just different levels of argument. Like, I don't understand. Like, to me, it's all of it stupid. Well, whether you're arguing he's the top 6th or the 16th or the 60th. Like, to me, it's just disingenuous all down the line.
All right. Well, let's talk about Kevin Durant and maybe why there's more talk about LeBron and Steph and whatnot. And, there were high hopes. In fact, when he got traded to the Phoenix Suns, people thought that they were the favorites in the West, right? Didn't they? Most people?
I think that, on paper, but I think, people, when you really boil it down, there's nobody that can stop Nikola Jokic. There's nobody, like, the body type doesn't exist in the Western Conference right now. So,
I'm with you.
If you were thinking that the Suns were championship favorites, that's on you, because, like, Nikola Jokic ain't going nowhere. So I didn't necessarily think that they were going to be championship favorites. I expected them to make the playoffs and to compete well, but they did that last year.
Right.
Prior to, getting Bradley Beal.
Right. But I think part of it now is, and I'm just looking at it, he's averaging 31.5 points. You know what his career average is? 27.
I was going to say 27, 28.
Yeah. So he's averaging right now 31.4. I mean, he's having an unbelievable season. But I think he's been downgraded. And I really do. I think, like, in the minds of NBA fans or people, he's 34. He's been around for a long time. He can't stay healthy. So everything with Kevin Durant is, well, if he's healthy or if he can, make it to the postseason or whatever. And I think that he has been kind of, in the minds of people, pushed to the back a little bit as he's gotten older, as he's gotten more brittle. And that's why he's not getting
the only reason that's the case is because he hasn't had the relative playoff success of LeBron and Steph Curry in the last few years. I think. Has he lost a step? Sure. But he, like you said, he's 34. I don't expect Kevin Durant to come out every single night and be explosive, moving from side to side, dunking on people like he's 25. He's 34 now. I get it. Like, he's going to play in a different style, and I think when we saw that the last time you saw him kind of be the man on a playoff team in that Brooklyn series against the Celtics, he didn't look great. Like,
no, I mean, they got swept and he couldn't get a shot off.
He got his shot blocked a few times, things of that nature. But like, I'm far from writing Kevin Durant off. If that's where we're going with this.
No, I'm just asking. But it feels like people don't have, like, he's dipped some in people's eyes, and I think it has to do because he can't, because he obviously can still play. That's not the issue. I just wonder about the injury part of it and him hopping around to different teams and him not being able to stay healthy. You saw in Brooklyn, he kept getting hurt. Every year there was something that went wrong, and then he went to Phoenix in a layup. I mean, he was at the basket at the rim by himself.
And that's the definition of a freak accident.
Yeah, that was a freak. There was no play there. There was nobody else involved.
To me, that speaks to his age. Like, that speaks to the idea that you're 34 now or 33 at that point in time, and now things hurt you that didn't used to hurt you. Like, I think if he was 26, he probably would have rolled that ankle, walked it off a little bit, and played more. But, being 10 years older than that run, you know what I'm saying, and having been in the NBA since you were 19 years old, that's a lot of wear and tear on the body. I think that over everything, that's what it is.
What do you, when you think of Kevin Durant's career, and I'm not trying to rush him out the league or anything, what do you think most about, his career? Like, do you think about that he started in Seattle, which moved to OKC? Do you think about the championships with Golden State?
I think
the
about
failure in Brooklyn, him stepping on the line against the Bucks. He almost beat them in that series where they went on to win the championship.
I would say my first two thoughts when I think of Kevin Durant were the 2 threes in back-to-back playoff years that he dotted in LeBron's eye. That's both of them right there on the right wing. I can see him in my mind's eye. Right wing, free throw line
right
extended.
in LeBron's mug.
Right in LeBron's, as my dad would say, face. You know what I'm saying? Right in his face. I think about that. Then I think about the Brooklyn-Milwaukee one, because I think that Brooklyn team, they had a lot of injuries, but if they could have gotten past Milwaukee,
I think they would have won the championship.
I think they would have won the championship.
I'm with you on that. And remember, I mean, he nailed that shot that would have won the game. And remember, Harden got hurt in that series, and Kyrie, and he was unbelievable that series.
KD nailed that shot, and then Kyrie refused the shot the next year, and everything was over.
No, that was it. And then James Harden didn't want to be there, because Kyrie didn't want to play. It was just it wound up being a mess.
That's my thought, and I honestly think going back to when he made the move to go to Golden State, I thought it was kind of commendable that you make. I know that everybody was like, he's a snake in the grass, and I would have agreed with folks if he had gone and not been like the freaking man on those teams. Like, if he had not gone and walked down LeBron both times and not dotted LeBron in the eye for a 3 in a closing game both times and not been a back-to-back finals MVP, then I'm here for your conversation about him being, as Charles Barkley would say, a bus rider. Okay?
No, right. It's hard to say somebody's a bus rider when you go on a team with Steph Curry and you win back-to-back finals MVPs, and if he didn't get hurt,
I think if he doesn't get hurt against Toronto, that's another one.
There was another one that they probably would have won, and that would have been something. And they and I know he's kissed and made up with the Warriors, but I thought they did him dirty when they opened their new, what is that, Chase Arena?
Chase Center, yeah.
Chase Center. And they had a video of all the great Warriors, and he wasn't in that.
See, that's
like that. That's like, I don't know how somebody could put that together and leave out a 2-time finals MVP.
You know what else I think, too? You know what else I think when I think of Kevin Durant? I think of Bob Myers, who, when he stepped down from Golden State, was universally across sports media talked about how he was one of the greatest team executives of all time and all this and that. Well, I remember, his draft classes, which have been lacking. Just ask, James Wiseman, who can't get tick on the Pistons, who are the worst team in the Eastern Conference.
Which is unbelievable how bad they are.
I think of that. I think of Jonathan Kuminga, who's supposed to have been taking the next step about 12 months ago. We're still waiting on that one. All right. I think of the playoff series last year where there was Steph Curry and the boys, and that was about it. And I think all of that happened because Bob Myers sat there after the second championship and said, Steph earned his money. Steph earned his extension
I remember that.
right in front of Kevin Durant.
I don't know what that was all about. Why would you do that?
For whatever reason, and I don't know if it comes from Steph Curry or where it comes from, but seemed to be a concerted effort to prop up Steph Curry during that moment in time when Kevin Durant was there. And I think if people had just calmed down a little bit, KD might still be a Warrior.
Well, we know Draymond Green and all that. We don't need you and all that. But they all went to Hampton to beg him to come. But then they say we didn't need you or we don't need you or whatever.
And you know what? Sure,
that was one of the worst
things. Maybe you didn't need him for that one. But now you go back to last year. You win 11 road games. Jordan Poole getting punched in the face.
Yep.
All of that. You know what probably would have helped? A 7-foot sniper on the wing.
No doubt. All right.